Welcome to my channel. Today, I would like to talk about linear regression and multiple linear regression. And what informs today's study is that one of my students, intend to learn about support. Okay, so the student was interested rather, on support and how it influences students' entrepreneurial intention. Okay, so I'm going to put something like this. So students' entrepreneurial intentions. And so when we talked about that, and we started looking at how we can check. So this is invariably saying the effect of support on entrepreneurial intention. Okay, effect of support on students' entrepreneurial intentions. Okay, so this is a typical example of what the student is actually looking for, right? Or the influence of support on intentions. Okay, so if you want to engage in this particular type of study, what it simply means is that you want to see the influence of this keyword, this key variable, and this is the variable entrepreneurial intentions. So one of the things I've encouraged so much is the use of research models. You need to develop a model in order to help to guide you. Okay, so in this case, what I need to do, if I were to be the one to conduct this study, what I need to do will be to develop my own model. Okay, conceptual model. So I'm going to do a conceptual model. Okay, and in developing this conceptual model, so I'm going to have the two key variables represented well. So to do this, I'm going to come here and I will select my box. So I'm going to have the variable one. um so I'm going to copy this paste. I'm going to have the other variable here. So I'm going to name this um so I'm going to name this support, and then here I'm going to name this entrepreneurial intention. Okay, um yeah, entrepreneurial intentions, sometimes intentions and sometimes intentions. So entrepreneurial intentions, please. So, and this simply means that if we are interested in studying um, the effect or influence, the effect of support on students' entrepreneurial intentions, right? So, what it simply means is that I have just a single, this is a single linear regression line. So let me also make this very clear to you. So, this is just a simple linear regression line. Okay, linear regression. Okay, so in this particular case, right? So in this particular case, um, it is simple that it simply means that we are interested in just one. So this is basically what it looks like to have a linear regression. So this is just a single line here, showing the you want to see the effect of these. So this is your variable a, for example. This becomes your variable a, and the dependent variable b. Okay, as the case may be, if you want it that way, right? So to move on, I will simply pose the following hypothesis. So I will say, hypothesis one, for example, I want to see how support influences entrepreneurial intention. So this is exactly what it means. So this is what the conceptual model is saying. Okay, so under figure one, I'm going to put this as figure one. Yeah, conceptual model. So this is it here. Okay, now so the hypothesis one here states that support will influence, I can say, will positively influence entrepreneurial intentions. Okay, yeah. So this is going to be my research, my hypothesis here. However, if I want to also see how I can decompose support, because if you go on to review the literature, you are going to find out that support, there are different types of support, different forms of support, according to a lot of researchers. So you can see that we have, for example, we have teacher support. Let's say teacher support. Okay, we have parental, we have parental support, friends support. Okay, peer support. And then we also have another form of support. We have supervisor support. But in this particular case, we are interested in, because we are interested in entrepreneurial intentions of students, we might also want to, we might simply want to focus on this, on these three key supports. Okay. So these are the ones we go. So and then what we need to do is to build our literature around these three supports, since we have decomposed these particular variable support here. So having decomposed this particular variable here, the next thing we need to do is to build our literature around this and be able to uh, um, justify why we want to decompose this and why we want to see how each of the constructs of support will influence students' entrepreneurial intention here. So to do this, one of the things we might do is to also develop, recreate our model. So I'm going to call this model 2. So I'm going to copy this and paste here, and then I'll call this figure 2, and I'm going to have conceptual model. Now this support will now we now be disintegrated into uh, three parts. So they will now form the dimensions of the support, or the constructs of support. Okay, so what I need to do now is I'm going to have so what I'm going to do now is to uh, so I'm going to create this. I'm also going to create this. So I'm going to also create this here. Um, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to call this friends support. Friends support. I'm going to call this parental support. So this one becomes teacher support. So these are the three forms of support that students often experience or feel uh, in at school. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to um, the next thing I want to do is to reposition my dependent variable entrepreneurial intentions, and then okay, so I knock this out, and then I want to draw this to this point, and then I can also create this again uh, here, and then I also create the last one here. Okay, so this forms our, so this is no longer a linear regression. So at this point we are now dealing with um we are no longer dealing with linear regression at this point, so we are now dealing with multiple linear regression. Okay, so let me make it clear here that this particular one is multiple uh linear regression, or simply people sometimes call it multiple regression. Okay, so we're going to take this, so this becomes multiple linear regression. So each of these lines here will form your regression lines, or what we call your hypothesis lines. Okay, so here from what we have right now, so we are having the hypothesis one, that teacher support will positively influence. So we're going to have this, and so we'll have that two parental support. So two parental supports will significantly influence this thing. Or we can also say that friends support, sorry, friends support would have a positive effect. Okay, so you can't, you need to be flexible about, you need to be flexible with words. That is, it's not a must that it will have to read exactly like this. So it could be friend support would have a positive effect, okay, effect on entrepreneurial intentions, on students' entrepreneurial intentions. Okay, so yeah, at this point, so we have now built our we've actually built our models. So the next thing we need to do is to head over to um, head over to SPSS to analyze this particular model that we have developed. So remember the keywords here. So this is the typical linear regression, and this is multiple linear regression. And so here I have just one hypothesis. Okay, so and then here I already have three hypotheses that I want to test, which I have formed from decomposing this. So here at this point, each of these now serve as independent variables predicting the dependent variable entrepreneurial intentions. Okay, so at this point we're going to head over to um, so we're going to head over to SPSS. So I like to also draw your attention to a very important point here. Measurement scale development is a full study on its own. So you don't need to develop a new scale. You don't need to develop a new scale in a study like this. So what you need to do is, the best thing to do is to adopt an existing scale, because if you adapt, in other words, you want to modify, you need to subject those measurement scales to exploratory factor analysis with a separate data set, and then you also need a separate data set to conduct a confirmatory factor analysis to confirm it in your own study context. Okay, so this is why it is quite um, different to develop a new skill in your own when you're conducting a study. So what you need to do is to use an existing skill to measure in your own context. So in this particular case, that's exactly what I have done. But that is a study for another day. So I'm going to dedicate a new tutorial to explain item development. So here we also have parental support, item one, 2, 3 to 5, and then also have, so this is F, means friends support. And so this is entrepreneurial intention. So there are four items measuring entrepreneurial intention. So this is also family business. Wanted to also see how the students' family ownership of business influences their entrepreneurial intention. So, and then also gender. So this is these two variables here, data set here, variables actually are control variables. So they will be controlling, they'll be used for, they'll be used as control variables in this particular study. So in this particular study, the first thing you need to do is to ensure that at least your skills, your skill has met the minimum requirement. So which is a reliability test. So to do this, so what we need to do is to first of all head over to reliability, and then select the items, specifically items for measuring um, teacher support, and then head over here and then check the reliability. I always want to see how the individual items are faring. So because of this, so I'll always select scale if item deleted, because I want to see if there's any particular item that we will not be doing pretty well. Okay, so and then I will check. So these are 6 item statements, and then we have Chromback alpha reliability value of 0.92. And so you can see that here, even if I remove any item here, all of them will be doing pretty well. So they're all measured, they're all within the threshold of between 0.7 to 0.95. Okay, so this is looking good. And then you can see the correlated item, so they are also loading very high. Okay, so which means that we don't have problem with the teacher support scale measurement scale that we have in terms of reliability is actually meeting the required threshold. Okay, and then the next thing I want to do is to move this out. So I'll select all of them and move them out, and select parental support, and then knock them in. Parental support item 1 to 5, and then knock them here and check. So you can see here the items are also doing well. So you can see all of them are all within the required the individual items are all within the required threshold. And then you can see that we have a pretty good Chromback alpha reliability coefficient of 0.89 for the 5 items here, so which is quite interesting and good. And so let us head over to the next one, which is um, the family support. So I will also check this. So remember that as you check this, you also need to report them in your work. For example, I can come here and then I can say reliability results. Okay. For example, I can say teacher support equal to 0.92. Okay, parental support equal to 0.89. I think, am I right? So let me check. 0.89. This one is 0.89 again. 0.89 again. Yeah, we can take this to be 0.89. And friends support gives us also 0.89 again. Okay, so and entrepreneurial intentions gives us the Chromback reliability result. So we will check for entrepreneurial intentions. So I want to put it here now and knock this out. So I'll put the 4 items measuring entrepreneurial intention. So and then I'll check. So here we are having the Chromback alpha value of 0.85. So entrepreneurial intention 0.85. So there is nothing like overall reliability. Some people will always come around and join all these things together and claim one reliability coefficient for all of them. No, but here, because we decomposed teacher support, we may also want to see the if you want, we may also want to see the cumulative or of the overall group reliability for teacher support, parental, because they belong to one construct of support. Okay, but we cannot carry these particular entrepreneurial intentions and put into support and then come and report one entrepreneur, one Chromebacks alpha reliability value and say it is an overall. No, please don't do that. Okay, you don't need to do that. Okay, so let's get back to SPSS. So now that we have certified that um, the 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 reliability coefficients are also looking good. So here, how did we get this point? You may want to ask. It's simple. You simply come to transform. Um, yeah, you simply come to transform and compute variables, okay? And then you'll be able to compute for teacher support. How do you compute for this? How I do it myself is I will simply write teacher support here, and then I will sum up this, okay, plus this, plus this, plus this, because all the item statements are loading pretty well, and they are doing very well in terms of the reliability coefficient. So I just want to use all of them to measure what I want to measure. So here I will call them teacher support. So this is how if you click here, okay, is going to produce this same teacher support factor, a continuous variable here. So I've merged all of them to have a continuous variable here, and same thing is applicable to this particular place. Also have um, continuous variable for all of them. Okay, so let us head over to the analysis. So we go to analyze, and we go to regression, we go to linear. Sorry, oops. So we go to linear, and so I'm going to reset previous analysis conducted here. So what I need to do is that if I want to do the linear regression, for example, I want to do the linear regression first. I want to find out this to this. Okay, so what I will do is I will simply put the entrepreneurial intention box here, and then I will select, let us assume that one of these is that this is just the support variable. Okay, so I'll put the support variable here, and then come and select the statistics that I want to see, particularly this, and then I'm interested in also multicollinearity diagnostics. And so I will say okay. So if I click this will simply predict this. It will simply show me the effect of this to this. Okay, that is for linear regression. But in this particular case, I'm interested in the multiple linear regression. So I want to see how all the subconstructs of support influences entrepreneurial intentions. And then I also want to see whether family ownership of business also have effect on the students' entrepreneurial intention in this particular population, this particular sample that I'm using right now. So, so I want the control variables to come first, and then teacher support, parental support, and then friend support. So the next thing I want to do is I will come to statistics and check this. I've already checked, and so because I'm interested in in the confidence interval, I want to base my findings on the confidence interval at 95% confidence interval. So I will check this, and then I want to see the collinearity diagnostics um, output. So I want to see if the items are over relating to each other. Okay, so and then I'll click OK, and then I'll click OK here. So the result. So this is the result of the regression analysis. Okay. Um. All right. So you can see the model summary here, that this is the R square, and this is the adjusted R square, and this is the R square change 0.798, and this is our F change. Okay, and then this is our change statistics. So our so this model is statistically significant. Okay, but what is more important here is the coefficient table. So this is where your result is. Okay, this is where we have the result that we want to report in our research. And under this particular model, so we want to report the research model in our work. And how do we report that? So I'm going to show you how you can report this. If you want, you can simply, if this were to be a student project work, the student will simply have to report this table, and then this table. Okay, and if you look at these collinearity statistics, you are going to see that here we have our tolerance, and then we have our VIF, value inflation factors, which is quite important. So these two here shows us that this data is not having any issue of multicollinearity. Yeah, because some schools of thoughts, some literature, some theories said that if the value is not up to 3.0, so we can say if the value of value inflation factor is not up to 3.0, then we can confirm that we do not have any multiple collinearity issue with our data, and same thing applicable to tolerance. You can see none is up to one point. And then again, if you come to uh, the unstandardized beta weight, so this is the unstandardized beta weight. So you can see that gender has no statistically significant value here. So you can see that we do not have any evidence that, what it simply means is that we do not have any evidence that gender influences students' entrepreneurial intention. And same thing applicable to family business, family ownership of business. So we have a statistically significant of zero point 0.1. So this is bigger than 0.05 or 0.01. So we do not actually have any evidence that family ownership of business had any positive effect on students' entrepreneurial intention in this particular population, right? So, but you can see that the variables of support, where we have teacher support, parental support, and friend support, are all statistically significant. So look at them here; they're all statistically significant. And you can see these are the unstandardized regression weight, but these are the standardized regression beta weight. And then if you come to this particular, the 95% confidence interval, so you see here at the lower bound, and here at the upper bound limit. So at the lower bound limit, so you can see that here zero did not fall between the nulls. So you can see this is positive at the lower bound, this is positive at the upper bound. Same thing here, same thing here, showing that the result is statistically significant. But you can see that here, the values of gender and family ownership of business, so you can see that the zero falls between the null. So this is negative and this is positive sign, and same thing applicable to these and this. So we can say that we do not have evidence that the control variables are predicting entrepreneurial intentions in this case. So what we need to do is, so we pick up this and then head over to our Microsoft Word and then make our interpretations of the findings. So I can say here, so I can come over here and say, so in this particular case, what we need to do is to report the findings. But first of all, we need to report the model summary. Okay, so we could say results. Then we say the analysis. So to analyze the hypothesis, the researcher employed multiple linear regression analysis at 95% confidence intervals. Okay, the analysis showed a good model fits. So you can say F, so that is this. Want to report the value of the F. Okay, so we say F into, so we report the both DF, the both degree of freedoms. So we report f into 5 comma 194 close equal to the result of 1.5 equal to result of the f change. Okay, so that's going to be 153.32. Okay, so we approximate this to 32, and then okay, and then p value. So we're going to report p, and then p value, p less than 0.001, that is this particular result here. Okay, then adjusted r squared change, adjusted r square, sorry, yeah, equal to, this is the result of the adjusted r square change, 0.979, and r squared change gives us the same result. R squared change is also 0.79. Okay, so at this point I've reported the value, the model fit summary, and then I can now begin to now write the results, interpret the results of the study. So I'll now knock this out and then go into the detail of interpreting the actual findings. So I'm going to put the findings here. So say the analysis shows that, so I'm going to put this now and say that teacher support had a positive effect on students' entrepreneurial intention. So I'm going to report the better weight. Okay, so I'll because I'm interested in the standardized regression beta weight. So because I'm interested here, not at the unstandardized, I'm interested in the standardized regression beta weight because I've used the 95% confidence interval. So which is about standard, this is a standardized result analysis. Okay, so in this case I'm going to report I'm interested in this. So here we have 0.278, 0.28 actually, because if I approximate this, so that's going to be 0.28, and then t equal to, can report the t value here equal to 5.62, and then the p value, equal to this. Okay, hence hypothesis 1 was accepted. Okay, so the next thing applicable to the analysis shows that parental support had a positive effect on students' entrepreneurial intentions. Okay, so same thing here. So I'm going to copy this. Go to paste. So I'll head over here. So this is 0.315. So 0.315. So that's going to be 0.32. And then the t value here is 6.53. 6.53. and then the p-value is statistic. So this is statistically significant. This is also so. But if I also want, I can also decide to um, if I also want, I might also decide to put the confidence interval here. For example, if I want to report the, so what I can do is confidence interval equal to, for this is 0.12, so I will say 0.12, and I report 0.25, okay, 0.25, okay, and then the p-value, right? So I can decide to do that. But if one thing is important, if I want to report the value of the t, there might actually be no reason for me to report this anymore, right? So I will likely knock this out and then focus strictly on the t values. Okay, and then so I can say indicating that hypothesis 2 accepted. And then lastly, okay, also the results found. Okay, so sometimes we try to be flexible with words. Found a positive influence of friends' support on entrepreneurial intentions. Okay, yeah, entrepreneurial intentions, and then I'm going to put my regression beta weights results. So we got the beta weight here. So the beta weight is 0.42. Okay, so I'm going to knock this out. 0.42. The t value is 8.81. Okay, so the t value is 8.81, and then our p value is statistically significant, and here are the confidence interval value. So what you might do is, and then I can also report, yeah, indicating that hypothesis 3 is accepted. All right, so the next thing I want to do is to also report the results of the control variables. Okay, the analysis regarding the control variables, the results show that we do not have evidence of effects of gender, okay, and family ownership of business. Sorry, I'm just pasting this. I'm going to use it to fix the results on the students' entrepreneurial intentions. Okay, so because this is not part of our hypothesis testing, so we are not recorded, so we are not reporting it as accepted or rejected. Okay, so but what we need to do now is to head over to here. So the standardized regression is 0. minus 0.05. So for gender is minus 0.05, and then the t value for gender is minus 1.61. So this is minus 1.61, and then the t value, the p value here is 0.11. So we're going to say P equal to 0.11. And then the family ownership of business, which is here, this is 0.047, which is almost same thing, 0.05. And then the T value is minus 1.44, T equal to minus 1.44, okay. And then the P value, P equal to we report our P value equal to 0.15, okay. P equal to 0.15, okay. So these are the results of our control variables. So these are the control variables here in this study. All right, so this is how you are going to interpret this. So but you may also want to have a table where you can now report this so that you can include the results of this. And then I can say that regarding the the results of the VIF, um, the value of the value inflation factors, that is the VIF, shows no evidence of multicollinearity. Oh, multicollinearity in the data sets. Okay, so you may want to report it here. Otherwise, you can also report it in your methodology section of your work. So this is exactly how you can analyze a multiple linear regression analysis. So this is how you can report the findings of your study. So the next thing you want to do is to now go into discussions, okay, discussion of what you found. So you now begin to make meaning of why teacher support will have a positive effect on entrepreneurial intention. So you may want to now begin to talk about this and then begin to begin to link it to previous findings. And if you have used a theory, to underpin your study, also at this particular point you may also want to show how your findings relate to the theory that you have used. Okay, so this is how you can test multiple linear regression. In the next video, I'm going to demonstrate how you can also conduct this study in EMOS, how you can run a path analysis, use path analysis to also conduct this same study and then report the results. Okay, yeah, path analysis in EMOS. I will also, in another video, I will also demonstrate you how you can also conduct this same study in using structural equation modeling, right? Yeah, structural equation modeling, where we want to now show the individual item loadings and then report how they all loaded and then report the same findings. Okay, yeah, thank you so much. If you find this tutorial interesting, you can also share to your students and then to your friends and colleagues, and then let's keep doing good research. Thank you so much.